In 2025, investors will pass on 90% of the startups they meet. 9 out of 10 pitches end in a no. It's not always because the idea is bad, it's mostly because the founders aren't communicating what matters. I've helped founders raise over 50 million, and I can tell you from experience, investors aren't rejecting you for the reasons you think. So today, I'm gonna break down the real reasons investors pass on startups this year, and more importantly, what you can do to avoid being part of that 90%. So first, let's kind of talk about the obvious traction. Investors want proof that your business is working and not just a clever idea. But the twist is it's not just about revenue. Traction can mean user growth, retention, wait lists, partnership, or even letters of intent. If you're pitching with nothing but an idea, you're putting yourself in the riskiest category. And most investors will pass or worse say yes and take advantage of you and grab a large stake in the company because you don't have any leverage. Second is communication. Investors pass on so many founders because the pitch isn't clear. If you can't explain what your business does without jargon, they're gone. And in 2025, attention spans are even shorter. Investors are seeing more pitches than ever. So if you confuse them, you're gonna lose them. The third is timing. Sometimes investors pass because your market timing feels off, or they've just invested in a competitor, or they're shifting their focus to another industry. That's not about you being a bad founder, that's about them managing risk. Here's what you can control. Stay in touch and send updates so when the timing is right, you're top of mind, like a quarterly or monthly newsletter. The fourth is fundability. This is a big one. Investors aren't just looking at your product, they're looking at you as a founder. Are you fundable? Can I trust you? Do you know your numbers? Do you have a strong team? Are you coachable? Are you going to be defensive when questioned? Founders underestimate how much investors index them on the person, not just the company. And the fifth is a follow-up. Most founders assume the pitch is the end of the story, and it's not. Got to treat fundraising like a sales process. Investors pass because the founder didn't follow up, didn't send updates, didn't show progress, and I can't stress this enough. The follow-up is more important than the pitch itself. And let me be clear, rejection is part of the game. It's actually guaranteed. Even the most successful founders hear more no's than yeses. But if you understand why investors pass, ask for feedback, you can kind of start to flip the odds in your favor. The bottom line is investors pass on 90% of startups because they don't feel compelled, understand the story, the timing is off, the founder isn't fundable, or the follow-up never happens. But the good news is all of these are things you can start improving right now. So if you're a founder, stop thinking you need a Shark Tank moment. What you need is clear communication and consistency, because investors don't fund the best idea, they fund the best prepared founders. And that's exactly why I'm on a mission to help 10,000 founders become fundable, because when you're fundable, you stop being part of that 90% that gets passed on, and you start being part of the 10% that gets funded. So tell me in the comments, what's the biggest reason you think investors are passing on startups? I'd love to hear your perspective, and any questions I'll feature in my next video.